Hi, everybody. I'm Jake.
I'm Hannah. We're here to provide you comedy today, the likes of which you would only get at a 90-minute Dave Rubin set, which sounds like my idea of a personal hell.
You ever write a chapter in your own book about how funny you feel you are? Because
In fairness,
that's
that sounds like exactly the kind of thing I would do. 30% of my stream is me laughing at my own jokes, so
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, but for you to write compliments to yourself seems beyond your capabilities, in my
I can
opinion.
do it as long as it's sarcastic.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
a
that's what I mean.
trash person.
I can too. This isn't sarcasm though. Sarcasm. This is Dave. His chapter entitled "Laugh,"
By the way,
which is basically the please clap of this book.
we're in the final 3 chapters.
Yeah,
This chapter, one more, and then another one after that.
the
and
last
we're
one's
done.
huge,
Yeah.
so that'll be a big episode. Pretty
So
excited
today,
about that, I guess.
Dave Rubin wants to explain to us why Jordan Peterson was an unfeeling robot man until he bestowed upon him the gift of laughter. Like that time Q let Data understand humor for 5 seconds before ripping it away, like the cruel god he is.
Like that time in one of the cold openings of The Office, where Michael was just learning how to love when he was a robot. Come to my R5. You remember that?
No, I don't remember
What?
that.
Get in the R5. And he's like, do you mean Office? Anyway, like the show? The show The Office.
I'm aware of the
The
show
American
The Office.
version of the show The Office.
I'm aware of what version you're talking about.
Well, it's not on Netflix anymore, so it's been deleted from many people's personalities.
It's on Peacock, and they have extra long versions where they put the deleted scenes back in.
No one cares about Peacock.
I agree, and I have a subscription to Peacock.
You should not. You should delete that out of solidarity for everyone else who doesn't give a shit. Speaking of things we don't give a shit about, this chapter. So we have to talk about this chapter. It is called Laugh. It is almost the pentultimate. It's the pentultimate chapter, which is definitely how that prefix works. So
like New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So
you weren't lying. Hannah wasn't lying. Literally, it's how I gave Jordan Peterson laughter in his life. Literally.
So it starts out with, one night in the middle of the tour, I did my own 90-minute stand-up show at Wisecrackers Comedy Club in Salt Lake City.
That sounds like a fake. I'm Googling it. It sounds fake.
No,
it's probably real. It's probably 100% real. But that sounds like a fake comedy club, right? What if it actually is fake? It's definitely real, right? Wisecrackers Comedy Club. In Salt Lake. Let's see.
This is a good use of the time in the episode, is looking up this club that's definitely real.
It's definitely real?
Yes.
Salt Lake City's nightlife will gain a new hotspot when Wise Guys Comedy Club opens in November 2015.
It says Wisecrackers, not Wise Guys.
Oh. Wait a second. Wait. No! Wait! It's actually not real! He meant Wise Guys! There's... Wisecrackers is... Look, I'll show... it's crossed out. It's crossed out on the Google search. You see?
Did it close? It's probably, if it's crossed out, it existed and then it closed.
This is Wise Guys. It's definitely Wise Guys. Wisecrackers seems to be a different place. That's actually interesting. That wasn't on purpose. Must include Wisecrackers. It doesn't. There's no Wisecrackers in downtown Salt Lake City. Maybe there's a news article. I'll click news. There's none. So it didn't close. Okay. I didn't. That was a joke. That was a joke. And I genuinely thought that you were going to be right about me wasting time here, but.
So Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson manifested an ethereal comedy club into the Salt Lake City area and performed at it for 90 minutes, which sounds awful. I don't want to hear Dave. I wouldn't want to hear a tight 5 from Dave at the Comedy Store, much less sit through a 90-minute
best
HBO comedy special. Because even like a comedian I like John Mulaney, I feel like an hour and a half is like,
it's a lot. It gets to be
that's a lot. That's a lot. I think an hour could probably do it. I feel like at the hour and a half range, you're at an hour, you're probably getting some really great material and some material. when you get an extra 50%, you're reaching into the bits that barely works,
Yeah.
and they're still trying to workshop them. And that's even with someone like John Mulaney, who's very funny. So Dave Rubin's bottom of the barrel. I'm in the last
no.
These are 45 minutes into the set, and this is where I hide the bad bits.
Yeah, I'm padding time. Okay, so what's worse, 90 minutes of Dave Rubin's stand-up or his intellectual dark web guest at the end, which could include faces like Eric Weinstein, Brett Weinstein, Christina Hoff Sommers, Michael Shermer, or Jordan Peterson?
My favorite usage of... I like when they call themselves the intellectual dark web, because they're neither intellectual or on the dark web.
Yeah. They're on the normal internet.
You don't find them on Tor. They're not next to ads for hitmen and
hitmen and brides. And right in the middle is Michael Shermer. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so he invites Jordan on to do the thing. What started as a need, and he was like, I want Jordan Peterson to see how funny I am. Like, literally, he writes, in my element, like doing the stuff instead of the warm up on his stuff. I want him to see my 90 in Wisecrackers Comedy Club in Salt Lake City, which is real and not fake. What? I'm so surprised that's not real. Anyway, so he invites. He must have fucked that up. It must have been the Wise Guys one.
Yeah.
But how do you not catch that in editing? So Jordan is invited, and he writes what started as, and he admits to it, what started as a need for approval from Jordan Peterson permanently changed the dynamic of our relationship. The crowd was electric all night long, and that electricity went nuclear when I brought my surprise guest on stage. That's not how electricity works, but that's fine. He's not a good comedy writer anyway. It's not a big deal. And then he says Jordan cracked some jokes. He even swore a couple times, and that made the crowd explode.
Oh my God. A 50-something-year-old adult man used a dirty word?
He did.
My goodness. Giving me the vapors.
It was probably damn. I said, God damn it.
No.
Wait, what
Jordan
the fuck
Peterson would...
Shut up! Hey, dog! Thank you.
Jordan Peterson would never take the Lord's name in vain. How dare you?
I would take my dog's name in vain, though. Darwin! Which is the opposite of the Lord's name. Because, I don't know. Edgy atheist evolution joke. So, the next thing is the funniest part in this entire chapter, for sure. And it's that he of course Jordan learned the power of comedy there. But Dave writes, sure, he already knew intellectually and on a personal level that comedy is viable. And quote, in the parentheticals, it says, he takes great pleasure from the fact that he introduced his children to The Simpsons and the Jim Carrey comedy The Mask. Who has ever introduced The Mask as the Jim Carrey comedy The Mask? And also, like, of course, Jordan, you would introduce your children to stuff. That's what parents do. My parents also introduced me to these things. Why would they think about that? It's so weird. It's so weird.
Why haven't they remade The Mask yet?
I don't know.
The comics actually really... if they did like because it's a comic book movie, a lot of people probably don't know that. The comic books are way darker.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're pretty fucked up.
You could do that today. Deadpool was popular. Do The Mask with an R rating. For those who don't know.
With Jim Carrey again, which would be weird.
Sure. For those who don't know, the premise of The Mask, and of course in the Jim Carrey movie, he does cartoony stuff. That's basically his superpowers, as he has access to the Toon Force. But there's usually cartoon reactions to the cartoon things he does.
Yeah.
The premise in the comics is he does cartoon things,
and everybody else is just a normal...
So he'll drop a cartoony safe on someone, but it's not like bonk, whoop. It's like their head fucking splatters because you dropped a safe on their head.
That's funny and dark, and I like that. And that would make a really good Deadpool like villain or sidekick. Frankly, I don't know. Are they both Marvel? I don't think they are. I don't think Mask is.
Mask did crossovers with DC, but I think they were an independent.
Yeah, they're like
publisher.
Infinite or something, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, doesn't really matter. I'm sure someone knows the answer to that. But so now Dave takes credit for Jordan Peterson introducing the concept of levity in his like speeches, and so like Jordan will give a wry smile or make a little bit of a joke, and Jordan and Dave Rubin's like, yeah, that was me, bro. I did that. I inspired.
It can't just be that maybe over time Jordan Peterson became more comfortable and went from just business colleagues to more friends and therefore became more open with Dave Rubin. It has to be that Dave Rubin inspired a personality change in a 50-something-year-old man.
I mean, it could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't. Of course, your friends have.
I'm saying it couldn't happen.
Okay.
I am saying it could not happen. People at that age do not suddenly change their personalities.
Well,
like at a fundamental level.
I will say that Dave definitely says that there's more change than probably is what happened. I think at most Jordan Peterson goes like, oh, this is probably an effective tool to use as humor.
Sure.
I don't think he would think of it like how Jordan Peterson thinks, which is how can I further like. He wouldn't think of the word manipulate, but it's the word manipulate. How can I manipulate the audience into doing things a different way? So yeah. Anyway, he also says that Jordan doesn't stop and let people laugh during comedy. He makes the big comedy no is you're supposed to bask in the laughter of the audience, which I thought was weird because a lot of comics let people laugh for a little bit, of course, which is the point, and then they like start talking again and interrupt.
And it serves a practical purpose because if you start telling a joke while people are still laughing at the last one, they're not going to fully.
Yeah. Anyway, is there anything about that? Comedy could be a perfect weapon. Is there anything about that before we get to the Family Guy shit and then him bitching about politics?
No, I mean, I guess a little bit. Just like he's not wrong. We've talked about this on the show before too. Is that comedy can be disarming? It can be a method of getting across ideas that otherwise are less palatable. It allows for discussions that otherwise might be more uncomfortable about serious topics. If you sort of lighten it up, I don't disagree. It's just funny listening to Dave Rubin talk about this when Dave Rubin isn't funny.
Yeah, he's not funny. He's just dumb. But he ends up, of course, doing this really dumb thing. He definitely fancies himself a comedian, which is number one, the saddest part of this entire book, probably. Number two, and he also exalts himself, saying, of course, comedians are like canaries in the coal mine of life, which is precisely why authoritarians of the past and present were, and still are, so intent on silencing them. This is like the right is getting better at comedy and the left is scared, but he genuinely believes it. From banning gay jokes on Family Guy to trying to boot Apu from The Simpsons, no one's banning gay jokes from Family Guy. People don't think gay jokes it's not funny to be gay. That like maybe Dave, who is a gay man, is like, make fun of me because I like dicks, but like it's not, the joke isn't, you like peepees anymore. So it's like you have to make fun of a person that is gay for something that's probably unrelated to their sexuality for it to be funny. Sure. Unless you could probably make gay jokes in a self-denigrating way where you're like, I wish I liked dicks, but I don't. Vaginas are gross. Dicks are pretty. I don't know. There's ways to do that, I guess, but like just going like, gay, not funny. Not funny. The Apu thing, it's a racial stereotype. Also not funny anymore. Was funny 30 years ago when Simpsons started. Isn't anymore. The people aren't banning these things. The creative direction of these shows is changing based on input from their audience. If you got booed at every stand-up, you'd change the stand-up, Dave. I hope. But It's so weird. This is a constant thing. Censorship. The left is censoring stuff. Almost every time they bring this up, it's the creative people behind a project saying, like, our sensibilities have changed over the years. Mortal Kombat's a great example of this, where it's blood and gore, but they just stopped doing gratuitous titty things, and people are like, I want the gratuitous titties.
I like the Mortal Kombat designs nowadays much more. And don't get me wrong, I like having the classic costumes, which are in every fucking game, by the way. They have the classic costumes as unlockables. But, like, I like the costumes now more. The design sense just makes more sense. I like, the I am a sexual being. I am I'm not asexual. I'm not going to get specific about this. I'm just trying to say, like, I can enjoy people who are, in scantily clad outfits, both men and women.
We like tits.
But when it gets overly gratuitous just for the sake of it, it makes me roll my goddamn eyes.
I agree.
Like, really?
I love a titty. Who doesn't love a titty? Love a butt. Big fan of butt. You know what I also like? Vaginas. Know what I don't want to see? A cutout of your vagina in your suit when you're doing karate. Not interested. It actually. What'd you say?
I just want to know
Did you
if
say
Shao
you were?
Kahn takes over Earth Realm. I don't need to see Melina's fucking tits.
And if you want to have skins available that you can purchase that just show titty and dong everywhere, I'm fine with that. I don't care. The creative direction of that studio didn't want to do that though. And the right is like, I'm fucking mad about the no titties. It's like, didn't play the old games. I don't know, dude. They don't want to do that. It's not on them. In fact, requesting that they change their art is what censorship is. Just because you're revealing more flesh doesn't make it not censorship of their original intent, which is the thing they cannot wrap their little tiny brains around. But he talks about college campuses not wanting certain people to talk or say certain jokes there. Chris Rock went through this, I think. What was Chris Rock's deal? I think he was making gay jokes too or something. I can't remember. But he's since changed, and he's now doing fine comedy. Sometimes it takes people a second to get it, and that's okay. I'm fine with people growing. Like, if Dave ends up someday becoming a reasonable individual because someone rich on the left paid him to think that way, I would accept it. It wouldn't, though. But yeah, something about which one was it? Right at the end. Oh, he also taught. He says he taught Jordan Peterson to laugh at himself. Okay, buddy. Okay. And then Oscar Wilde once said, if you want somebody to tell the truth, you better make it funny or they'll kill you. He thinks comedy people are like always telling the truth, which is interesting. There's a certain aspect of that I guess in some comics they're just like George Carlin is a great example of that, where he would just be like, he'd basically do a political sermon up front, but he'd be charming enough to pull it off as jokes.
I think it's more accurate to say comedians are, how do I put this? Their sets usually illuminate their perspective more so than they tell objective truth, right?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
It's basically a one-person show where you're getting up on stage and telling anecdotes and trying to make points while you are joking. At least modern comedy that's not just like set up, payoff.
Yeah, it's usually some sort of...
It's usually a story that has some sort of message that's humorous or whatever, unexpected, yada, 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 yada. And not all the time. Like John Mulaney, not every bit he does, like the What's New Pussycat bit. Like, there's not really much to learn about.
A lot of John Mulaney is funny because of his delivery is so perfect. Like, he's kind of like, I don't know, his technique is kind of the funny part. I mean, not to say that the stuff he says isn't funny as well, obviously. He's fantastic. I think, but then he's like a technician, whereas someone like, I don't know, who's a really good comedian that I wait for their work at this point. Daniel Sloss is pretty good. He gets by on self-deprecation and then getting into a deep subject. Who did The Great Depression? He was really good. He told his perspective on stuff. I don't know. There's lots of ways to do comedy, but like to say that you're like some sort of like zeitgeist shifting hand on the pulse of America, world-changing voice because you make jokes is like, you sucking your own dick too much, dude.
There are very few comedians ever that reach that level of political commentary that lasts and
I can only think of
stands the test of time.
I can only think of Carlin as far as like that, like broad. There's some really good things.
That's what I gotta think of.
There's some really good ones. Like Nanette was a really good political commentary. I really liked. There was a political.
Lenny Bruce would be another example.
I guess, yeah, but we're going back in time quite far at that point. So
well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
That's what I mean.
Like very rarely is there a comedian that comes out and like is pegged as like, yes, that is political commentary that is substantive and stands the test of time.
Right. And then also multiple specials of that. Like there's a few people that you look at that do like, here's one really great special that they did and you have to watch it and it's politically interesting and stuff like that. But like the more you move, no one really did it the same way as effectively as people like Carlin. Definitely, I'd say Lenny Bruce is definitely a good choice. But I don't know. I guess that's kind of irrelevant. We're just kind of talking about favorite comedians at this point. But Dave doesn't really offer any of that in his jokes. They're not funny, and usually he's just sort of like wavering around and sort of searching for the one person that's laughing and sort of playing to that person. He's not good at it. He said if you read books, you turn bisexual. Like, what?
We should watch Dave Rubin comedy set and comment on it at some point.
Do they have entire comedy sets? Like stand up? Like an entire 90-minute? I have 4 minutes. I have 25 minutes. Did no one do like his full 90-minute set anywhere? Wow.
We could do the 25-minute one.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll do that one. That'll be fun. But that's it. That's it for this, unless you got anything else to say. I think laughing is obviously important, but that's not what he's saying here.
No.
He's not giving advice. He's saying, I made Jordan Peterson laugh.
Yeah. It's silly. It's stupid.
It's pretty weird. We make people laugh from time to time, too.
Yeah.
It happens.
I've not seen evidence of that.
Haven't you? We've literally been on stage making people laugh.
Those laughs were incidental.
Okay. All right. So, that's the end of that. I guess we're just going to go on to the next one. The next one is
the penultimate chapter.
That's it. We finally got there. You too can change the world. And would you like to read that very first sentence just so that they can know what they're getting into next time?
Do I want to or can I?
Sure, yeah, that one.
People often think of Jordan as a Jesus-like figure, but he's just as human as you or me.
It's quarter.
Fucking no!